Book 1. The Last Dragon. I was sitting in school, listening to the teacher give a lecture on dragons, same as usual. Dragons are a big part of our culture, as hundreds of years ago, dragons were used to basically forge the empire that we live under now. Our dictator, John III's great-grandfather rode the largest of the remaining adult dragons, Tario, into battle against the natives who were here at the time. Tario's fire breath wiped out most of those who stood in his way, until eventually the natives were forced to retreat and surrender. Tario was much bigger than any dragon they had, and he killed several of their largest with ease. By the time the natives had finally been defeated, and the land taken over, virtually all of the dragons had died in the many years of fighting. The only adult left was Tario, whose skull towered above a man many times over. The few other dragons still alive were young, too young to fight against an uprising, but too large and bothersome to keep alive. So the dictator at the time had them all slaughtered, leaving only Tario, who died 46 years after the natives' defeat at age 132. After his death, the only chance the world would see dragons again would be for someone to find an egg, and hatch it. Naturally, possessing dragon eggs, or even looking for them was outlawed. And nobody dared to go against the dictators now, considering what they do to people who accuse them of sexual assault and falsifying crimes against them. The dragons themselves were once populated around the world, however over time as more and more were tamed by the dictators, more and more of them died fighting over generations and generations. As for the natives, not much is known about them, except that they were here before us, and that they learned to tame dragons of their own to fight against the dictator's army. Over time, however, the largest ones died fighting. Jessica? Jessica? My teacher said as she tapped me on the shoulder. Yeah, sorry. I zoned out for a minute. I said as I came to. I see. Well, I'll fill you in on what you missed. We were discussing the anatomy of the dragons, and the unique properties of the dragon's eggs. She said. Of course, I already knew pretty much everything they taught in school. I was obsessed with dragons since I was little. I had always wanted a dragon, and as I got older, I started to think about how a dragon formed the unfair, violent government we live under now, then maybe one could also be its undoing. I brought it up to my dad one day, who is a hunter for our village, but he said the last dragon had died 100 years ago, and all that was left were the eggs. If any hadn't been destroyed already. One lesson I remembered learning in school once, was that as long as the eggs were kept heated, the chicks inside would stay alive, but dormant until heated enough to trigger the hatching process, normally done by the parents. I arrived home from school, to find my mother, father, and 14-year-old sister Mija at the table eating freshly killed boar. Jessica. I've got your plate right here, hun. My mom said as I walked in, shutting the door behind me. Thanks, Mom. I said with a rather bland tone. Something wrong, Jess? My dad asked as he looked up from his plate. I didn't say anything, I was just tired from lack of sleep the night before and didn't have much energy. I sat down and started eating what my mother had prepared for us. So Jess, how was school today? Asked my mom. Any new facts in dragon class? My sister said jokingly. Funny. Like I don't already know everything there is to know about dragons. I said sarcastically. My father cut in quickly and changed the subject. I'm going on a hunting trip tomorrow towards the base of the volcano to hunt for elk and boar. I'll be gone for most of the day. He said. We all just nodded at him, and didn't understand why he decided to say that right in the middle of the conversation, but whatever. My dad has always been the odd type. I went to bed that night thinking about my dad's hunting trip, and thought jokingly to myself, what if my dad found a live dragon tomorrow by the volcano? It's the perfect place to find an old nest. But nah. That's stupid. I slowly started to fall asleep, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was flying. Hello, valued reader.